Some of the points I'm going to focus on: nutrition myths, a lot of the myths that surround nutrition; moderation, how to keep your portion control sizes in moderation; and application, how to make it as applicable as to your daily lives as possible. Okay, so the first point I'm going to focus on today is portion control. So you have three main macronutrients: your carbohydrates, your protein, and your fats. Carbohydrates, so they want to account for approximately 45 to 55% of your diet. Good sources of carbohydrate include brown pasta, baby potatoes, sweet potato, and normal pasta in reasonable portions. Your portion size for carbohydrates on your plate. So if you close your fist, that front part of your fist is roughly the portion size you want of carbohydrates on your plate. Some bad sources of carbohydrate include your chipper chips, which have massive fat content. So you want to try and stick to your wholesome foods of carbohydrates, like the examples I named earlier. Next then is protein. So your protein wants to account for approximately 35 to 45% of your diet. Good sources of protein include meat, fish, poultry, and then your eggs as well is a really good source of non-meat based protein. Portion size for your protein. So if you open your palm, that middle part of your palm there is the portion size of protein you want to have on your plate per meal. Again, like I said, good sources would include fish. You want to be careful with the fish. Salmon is highly saturated in fat. Although it is good fats, if you go over the portion size, you are going to put on some weight because the fat content is high. Which brings me on to my next point, your fats. So this wants to account for between 10 and 20% of your diet. If you stick your thumb up in the air and take the full size of your thumb, that is the portion size you want on your plate of food in terms of fats. Good sources of fats, which have your monosaturated and polyunsaturated fats, are nuts, so cashew nuts, almond nuts. Fish, like I mentioned earlier, has good sources of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. And your peanut butter in moderation has, again with the nut content, has good sources of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. This brings me on to my next point, so portion size illusion. So you can look this up on the internet if you want. It'll give you a better imagery of it to look it up. So what I mean when I talk about portion size illusion is different size plates with the same size portion on the plate themselves. So you can do this at home if you want as an experiment, or you can look it up online. So plate sizes, a lot of family homes have large plate sizes when they come to serve the main meals of the day, e.g. lunch or dinner. If you experiment with this, or if you look it up online and you have a large plate, medium plate, small size plate, if you have exactly the same size portion on each plate, you'll notice different plates, the portion size looks different. So it almost tricks your brain into thinking you have a bigger or smaller portion on each plate. So if you were to have a large plate with a medium sized portion on it, subconsciously your brain is tricked into thinking, because the plate isn't as full, tricks your brain into thinking you haven't eaten enough and you'll stay slightly hungry. Medium sized plate with the exact same portion on it fills the plate much better, subconsciously tricks your brain into thinking you've had a decent sized meal, so it'll keep you nice and full. Same with the small plate, you'll almost notice subconsciously it tricks the brain into thinking same size portion on the plate, you've almost overeaten, you feel that little bit extra full. So just a little experiment to try yourselves at home, or if you want to just look it up online and just notice the difference and try and substitute. If you do have those large plates, try and substitute in medium sized plates and you'll notice the difference in terms of feeling fuller. Okay, so next point I'm going to talk about then is whole foods. So what I mean by whole foods is some examples of whole foods would be your vegetables, so cauliflower, broccoli, baby carrots, normal carrots. Good clean sources of carbohydrates, so your sweet potato, your baby potatoes, and then ideally getting in your normal portions of protein. A lot of the benefits of whole foods would be, there's hundreds of studies done on the effects whole foods have on your diet. So benefits would be they are shown to reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes. They've shown to reduce the risk of many types of cancer. And they've also shown to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease. So there's plenty of benefits of predominantly making your diet up of whole foods. So next I'm going to go on to 5 myths that are involved or kind of surrounded in nutrition. You'll hear these on occasion in the fitness industry. You may even hear some fitness personal trainers giving them out without really knowing exactly what they mean. So the first myth we have, limit fruits and veg as they have too much sugar. So you hear this a lot, especially in recent years. The sugar level in vegetables and especially fruit has put a lot of people off eating fruit or veg, predominantly fruit. The minerals, nutrients and vitamins you get in the fruit far outweigh the small amounts of sugar that are contained in vegetable fruit. An example I'll give you, a full kilo bag of baby carrots contains approximately 350 to 390 calories. The sugar content in that is, the calories with the sugar content is equivalent to 2/3 of a Big Mac from McDonald's. So when you kind of compare those two together, the sugar content is so low, it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. The minerals, nutrients and vitamins you're getting from those vegetables and fruit far outweigh the small amounts of sugar that are in them. Okay, second point then, you need to eat at least 5 to 6 small meals a day. This is, a lot of people, you'll hear this a lot in relation to fat loss and boosting your metabolism. What it all comes down to is input and output. So the input expenditure is the food that you're taking in on a daily basis, and then the output is the calories you burn through resting expenditure, so the natural calories you burn on a day-to-day just sitting around, and then your exercise expenditure, so the calories you burn through exercise on a daily basis, whether it be walking, cycling, moving about, walking up and down stairs in your workplace, or whether going to the gym and doing some physical activity. So eating 5 to 6 meals a day in terms of boosting your metabolism, the calories coming in as opposed to the calories going out, you just need to be in a calorie deficit. It's as simple as that to lose fat. You don't need to eat 5 to 6 small meals a day. You can get away with eating 2 to 3 wholesome meals a day. So long as your calorie expenditure is in a deficit at the end of the day or the end of the week, you'll be losing fat and burning fat whenever you do exercise or through your rest and expenditure. Okay, so myth number 3 then, avoid red meat as it is too high in saturated fat. So this is a common myth I hear as well in the fitness industry. Red meat does contain higher levels of fat than, say for example, your chicken or your pork. But the fat that is in red meat is full of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids like I mentioned earlier. So they're healthy fats. So they actually promote fat loss so long as you don't take them in too large quantities. Like I said, stick to your portion control. So open palm, the middle part of your palm for protein on your plate per meal. You'll be getting healthy fats in. It actually promotes fat loss. Fourth myth then, gluten-free is healthier. So this isn't, everyone thinks now, especially in recent years, that gluten-free products are going to be healthier than the normal products. Not necessarily true. Unless you have celiac disease or are gluten intolerant, gluten-free won't necessarily be healthier. Majority of the time, the companies will add more sugar into the product, therefore increasing the calories to make up for the texture and taste lost when they take the wheat out of the product to make it gluten-free. So you're not necessarily going to get a healthier / lower calorie product when it is gluten-free, as the sugar they add in will actually increase the calories than it was before to make up for taste and texture loss. Number 5, frozen veg have fewer nutrients than fresh veg. So I hear this a lot when I ask people to get frozen veg. They say, oh, you're losing out on nutrients, you're losing out on vitamins, minerals that are in them. Completely false. When frozen veg is picked to be put through the frozen process, it's picked at its prime. So it's fully saturated with the nutrients, minerals and vitamins that it's supposed to have. it takes so little time for it to go through this freezing process that all those nutrients, vitamins, minerals are kept inside the product while it's been frozen. Therefore, when you pull it out of the freezer and go to cook it, it's still fully saturated with all the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that it was supposed to have, and therefore blowing this myth completely out of the water. And it also works out as cheaper because during winter when fruit or veg, especially veg, is out of season, the fresh stuff will go. The prices will shoot to the roof. So buying frozen veg will actually save you money, and you're not going to lose out on any of the nutrients, vitamins and minerals that are contained within the product. Takeaway points from this talk: portion control. So again, just closed fist for your carbohydrates on your plate, thumb size for your fats, and then middle part of your palm for your protein on a plate at any given serving. Plate size. So again, if you want to experiment this at home, or you can look it up online and you can see the difference, your brain will be tricked into thinking you're seeing bigger portion sizes on the smaller plates than you are on the larger plate when they're exactly the same size. So just try and think about incorporating medium-sized plates instead of having the large plates for your portion sizes. And then last point then, whole foods. So just try and incorporate as many whole foods as you can into your diet. Like I mentioned, the benefits of having a predominantly whole food diet, reduce risk in cardiovascular disease, reduce risk in most types of cancer, and reduce risk in type 2 diabetes.